Hi there and welcome to 12 in 12. My name is Sarah Mincher and today we'll be discussing 12 powerful Pinterest marketing moves for your small business. Now I'm going to try to get through these tips in under 12 minutes, so let's get right to it. Tip number 1, optimize your profile. Whether you're creating a new Pinterest account or have an existing one, you want to make sure your profile is optimized. Every profile should include 4 key things. 1, a logo for your profile photo. 2, a link to your website. 3, a verified account stamp so users can trust your business. And 4, a keyword-rich about section. If you're missing one of these 4 key elements for your profile, I recommend after our webinar today, you go ahead and add it back in. Okay, let's move right into tip number 2, verify your account. Now, in our last tip, I mentioned an optimized profile should be verified. Verified accounts not only give your business online credibility and increase user trust, but they also allow you to have access to Pinterest analytics to monitor how well your account is performing. Verifying your account is incredibly simple, and simply visit this link down here for Pinterest's step-by-step guide for verifying your account. All right, moving on, tip number 3, images are key. Pinterest is a visually driven platform, so the type of images you pin are very important. For instance, red or orange photos receive twice as many repins as blue images. Images without a face receive 23% more repins than those with a face, and square images rather than long and narrow images have proven to be more popular. For a fully detailed report on what images have been proven successful on Pinterest, check out this link below for a full and detailed report from Curate. Let's move on to tip number 4. Add Pinterest social icons. Make it easy for your audience to pin your small business content by adding Pinterest social icons to your website. As you can see here, BuzzFeed, one of my favorite websites, did a great job of this. Here you can pin the actual article, as well as you have 2 separate chances to follow them directly on Pinterest. If your current website doesn't have Pinterest icons, I recommend you add them immediately to encourage your blog or website audience to connect with your Pinterest account. Click right here for an easy guide on adding Pinterest buttons to your website. Moving on to tip number 5, know what works. The most popular pins on Pinterest are generally food and drink, DIY, crafts, home decor, and women's apparel, which makes total sense when you take into account that about 70% of Pinterest accounts are owned by women. If your small business deals with any of these industries, capitalize on this and make sure a lot of pinned content is created around them, or find a way to integrate them into your mix already. You want to know what works. Definitely food and drink, DIY, crafts, and home decor is something that you should try to add to your Pinterest mix if it makes sense for your small business. Tip number 6, single topic boards. Now, I recommend you create specific boards around a single topic. If you can keep your boards clean and organized, you will improve usability for your followers, as well as attract pinners who are specifically interested in what you are marketing, selling, or promoting. For example, this brand Earthbound did a great job of this by creating a board specifically for vegan breakfast ideas and recipes. Now, I didn't even know this existed, but obviously it's working since this board has over 10,000 followers. So create specific boards for your key demographic, and it'll be much easier for them to find you on Pinterest. Okay, moving on to tip number 7, don't neglect rich pins. There are 5 different types of rich pins that you can use, and rich pins are a type of pin that allows you to add more detail and description to your pin content. There's place pins, which includes a map, address, and phone number. Article pins include headlines, author, and story details, helping pinners easily locate and purchase reading material. Product pins, which you see right here in this example, include real-time pricing, availability, and where to buy. Product pins are an amazing resource for any online retailer. Moving on, there's recipe pins. Those include ingredients, cooking times, as well as recipe search filters to help pinners narrow down specific diet needs. And lastly, there's movie pins. Movie pins include ratings, cast members, and reviewers to help pinners learn about new and old movies. Now, depending on what industry your small business is in, rich pins can be incredibly useful in serving pinners essential information about your products and helping them along the purchasing process. If you've never used a rich pin, I really recommend you try it. Moving on to tip number 8, use your secret boards. Secret boards are a great way to organize and prepare for any upcoming products, campaigns, or holidays you might want to pin around. For instance, if your small business relies heavily on holiday spending, you could actually start creating a 4th of July or Christmas board right now. In my own case, I'm planning on doing some specific marketing for spas and salons in the upcoming future, so I started a secret board here to start preparing for it. So if you know you have a big promotion coming up, use your secret board. You can perfect your strategy and all the pins in private before it goes out to the public. Now remember, you only have 3 secret boards at a time, but chances are that's enough for you. All right, tip number 9, include a call to action. A call to action is basically text or imagery which prompts the user to take some sort of action, whether it's to click here, learn more, sign up now, or etc. In general, calls to action lead to an 80% increase in engagement, and that's very, very high. I recommend you add a call to action to all of your pins. This pin right here is a great example of a call to action. It urges you to click on the tasty recipe for a tropical, or the tasty recipe, up here for a tropical recipe. So I recommend you pair a strong image with a strong call to action for a pin that will perform well. Okay, tip number 10, repin your content. Refresh your business boards by repinning your own items. Regular repinning displays your pins to newer followers who might not have seen your original pin in both the following flow and in the categories listings. So what I often do is every few months I'll go back in my boards and I'll look at old content and I'll repin it. This is a great chance for, like I said, for new followers to see your content, as well as for it to be more searchable and to show up in the categories listings. So don't neglect great previous pins. I recommend every month you go back in and repin them. Tip number 11, keyword pin descriptions. You want to make sure you include keywords you'd like to be searched and found under in your Pinterest pin descriptions. For instance, since we provide social media marketing for small businesses, Twitter for business is a key term we often use in our content, so I made sure to include that in the pin's description. Make sure you include keywords in all your pins descriptions so your small business is easily found under what you would like to be searched for. And a great thing about Pinterest is you can edit your pin description, so if you haven't done this, go through and repin the content and add in those keywords. They're going to make you be found by your ideal demographic, so don't neglect this tip. Okay, and our last tip for today is Pinterest tools. There are tons of amazing Pinterest tools out there to really take your Pinterest game to the next level. If you have a verified account, Pinterest does offer analytics. However, they are pretty basic, so if you want a more in-depth analytics report, one tool I would recommend using is Tailwind. You see it right here. Another great Pinterest tool is Pin Alerts. Pin Alerts makes you aware of each time someone pins an image from your website, so you can go ahead and follow them, like the pin, and engage with them. It's a great tool to help you keep track of your Pinterest activity. Another great tool is Pinvolve. Pinvolve allows your Facebook fans to know you're on Facebook. This is a great app or tool for a business that has invested a lot of time on Facebook, and you want to integrate those fans over into your Pinterest board. And the final tool that I would recommend is Pinstomatic. Pinstomatic is a great tool to help you edit images you share on Pinterest. Like I mentioned earlier, the images you add to your Pinterest boards are very important. And so Pinstomatic lets you watermark them, add text, fun overlays, different graphics. It's a great way to really take your image and make it pop. So I recommend you try out all 4 of these Pinterest tools. Okay, and that's it. Those are my 12 Pinterest tools, or my 12 Pinterest tips. Thank you so much for joining me today. Feel free to tweet me any questions or comments you have under the Digital Sherpa's Twitter handle using the hashtag 12in12. Thank you so much once again for attending.